What's up YouTube? Today in this video I'm going to show you how to do a iPhone 11 Pro battery. Some of the footage later on might look kind of a bit off. I filmed this as a full teardown and I'm just taking clips out of it to make into a battery video, so if it looks weird that's why. You don't need to comment. Basically just follow along. I edited everything in the order that you would need to. Yeah, and then I'm going to throw up a list of all the tools that you're going to need for this repair. Any questions or comments, leave one below. And yeah, if you need any of those, there are links. Support the channel. Thank you. But yeah, I bought this phone so I could flip. At some point I'm going to get around to making a video showing you how to do that. But generally, what you're probably going to have to do is just heat up the frame with either a hairdryer or a heat gun of some sorts. And do basically what I did. You do obviously want to be careful of your flex cables here. The last thing you want to do is sever one of them. And then we have quite a few plates. So I'm going to speed some of this footage up. But the first thing that you want to disconnect is your battery. So just because the phone is off, there is still electricity running through your board. So as a safety measure, we're going to disconnect our battery first. Then we can disconnect basically everything else. So battery connector is here. And then you have sort of, if you're using the chisel end, you should be good. But there's a little sort of shelf slash safe space. As long as you really don't need too much force. We're going to take our screen, set it aside. Now for the battery, we have a couple of pull tabs right about here, here, and then another one here, which you need to get by lifting up our charge port. So we're going to remove a couple of things which will help it. Well, it'll be easier to remove the battery once these are out of the way. So now we can get to this tab and this tab. Change up my tweezers. So I like to just sort of get a hold on it, and then I'll come in, I'll apply a couple of drops on top and below. And that happened. Yay. So we have a little tab here. All right, this is lovely. Well, I'm gonna change it up. So if you can tell it's starting to tear, sometimes you just literally just add more alcohol. It helps take the bite. And this one's going to be difficult. So before giving up and giving in, I'm going to try to remove this third. Fun times. So I'm going to start with this one, just because I like to pull at this angle. Okay, so that's good. I was able to get at least one. Now, so for the rest of you that may inevitably be in this scenario, I'm going to start up top, but basically you just want to apply some alcohol. We're going to apply our wedge. You don't want to jam it in. As we can see, we're trying to lift it up. Apply some more. All right, so now we got past the top. So next, I'm not going to. Well, you'll see. But apply some alcohol. So we already have it lifted up. We're just going to wiggle it back and forth. And you really didn't need to put in much effort. So some tabs, just they break down over time, and then this is what happens. So I'll try to remember this, or I'll try to add part of this in the beginning when I'm doing my intro. But it's not a bad idea. This is for a Pro Max. But it's not a bad idea to get an extra one of these, because sometimes you don't install it right the first time. Alright, it'll look something like this. So you peel off one. You can do this in either order, but usually I will do the top side first. I like to press down if there are any sort of spots that are lifting up. But you want this black line to peak just outside of the battery. Which should do exactly the same at the bottom. And then we can come in with our spudger. Fold that tab, this tab. So before you just go laying your battery in, at least this is what I do. So we have our charging port. Try to connect your flex. There we go. So we have sort of full movement. Then before laying down your battery, try to connect your battery. And this is purely for just the proper reach. So basically what you want is, you just want to know that when you lay it in, the flex is going to be able to reach here and here. Not so much with this model, but on other models, like the XR and the 11 are a great example of this. If you put it too high or too low, sometimes it's just annoying, and then you need to undo it because the flex doesn't have proper reach. Once that's done, we disconnect our flex, because we're about to start connecting some stuff. The last thing we want to do is have our battery connected. All right, last but not least, we just got to put on our screen. But before we do that, we're going to install a perimeter gasket. So, same thing with batteries. It's not a bad idea to get an extra one of these. So I try to line it up at the bottom. Make sure it's aligned as best as you can at the bottom, because it's off. If it's off by a little bit here, it's going to be off by quite a bit further. And then I try to guide it along one side or the other. Then I'll smooth it out with my spudger. If you can get them in a 3-layer, it's nice, because the last layer you can pull off right before you install your screen, just so your flexes or nothing gets stuck to the gasket. Yeah, sometimes it can be annoying when something gets stuck to it and then you lift it up and then the whole gasket comes up, so it's nice you just put this on at the last moment. So, before we connect our screen, make sure your battery is disconnected. There we go. So I'm going to test functionality before I put the rest of my plates and screws in. Honestly, you really don't need me for much more. A couple of things I will mention. Just make sure that on more than one occasion I have, screws will fly all over the places, and one will get stuck to the perimeter gasket or the Taptic engine or the loudspeaker or the ear speaker. And if you don't catch it, you can damage the screen when you go to close everything up. So just make sure you don't have any of that. So we can now remove our gasket. So be careful, because sometimes if it doesn't adhere properly, or if it's not a very good gasket, the gasket will come off of the frame. So if that happens, just try to smooth it out with your spudger at the same time. This one was fine. So then we're going to come seat the top. Crunch, crunch. I need to find 2 pentalobes for this. But that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day.